Can you hear me?
Yep,
Yeah.
we can hear you.
Oh, I can't.
Can you hear us now? No, I don't think he can hear us. Let's see.
You must have a loose wire somewhere. Hi, Judy.
Hi, Sarah. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How about you?
I'm good too, thanks. Donna's there.
We have Don,
can't-
we have everybody. on the
Don
call,
can't hear us.
But Don, yeah, Don's having some sound issues.
Okay.
And there's Heather.
Heather, it looks like you guys have been very hard at work.
Yes, we have, definitely. A lot of work done in 2 days. Only
I saw a lot of work done. It's like, wow, okay, that's good.
Oh, you muted yourself. There you go.
thanks.
Here comes Rory. There's Matt. Yay.
Hi, guys.
Hi,
Um,
Matt. How are you?
Doing well.
That's good.
It's all right. I waved at you today when I was mowing. You didn't wave back.
Where were you?
Like right across from Taylor Oil there.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Obviously, I didn't recognize you.
We're only waiting for Warren and Michael.
I'm going to say in public comment, but I'll let you guys know now. I'm not going to be around for the workshop meeting and the town board meeting next month.
Good for you.
So just to give you guys a heads up.
Don, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can.
Oh, great.
So the
I-
only
I-
issue with that is that if everybody else is going to be there, we just need a quorum.
Amazon is supposed
I'll
to
be around.
deliver me.
And Don, does your lawn need to be mowed with your foot?
Nope. Thank you anyhow. I've decided that I can mow it myself with my foot up in the air and hand controls. Backing up isn't fun, but I can
Can we
still
take
do it.
pictures? Can we get pictures of this?
So-
Send Stan down to video.
Yeah.
Thank you anyhow for offering that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, I have everything and, I don't want to.
No, the problem was getting it out of the shed. George Keeler came over and did that for me, and that worked well.
Oh, that's great.
My foot's bothering me, Matt, if you wouldn't mind coming by.
Oh, okay.
He's got a nice farm for you to mow. Oh.
Amazon was supposed to deliver my speakers today and they didn't, so not yet at least. So bear with me. If you see me duck out of sight, it's wiggling wires.
Okay. Well, okay, it's 7 o'clock and I'd like to start. And Michael and Warren, I'm sure will come on. So I would like to call this meeting to order. I'd like to call the July 16th Town Board meeting to order. It is important during this time of the pandemic that the functions of government carry on. It is under that premise that we will continue holding our meetings remotely until we decide not to, which is a topic we should discuss today. Record them and live stream them on YouTube for the foreseeable future as prescribed by the governor's executive orders, including 202.1, 202.14, and 202.28. This has been extended to August 5th. For those new to board meetings, the agenda is always posted before the meeting on our website and on the bulletin board at Town Hall when we work in person. Here's Warren. The minutes for each meeting are also available on the website, but remember that minutes are always 1 month behind because we approve them at each meeting. The agenda is standard, meaning that the same categories pretty much exist for each meeting in the same order, although their content varies. We will skip the pledge this month and go on to the first agenda item, which is approval of the minutes and the town clerk report.
The June 15th and 18th minutes and the June report.
I just had a question. I don't think I got the Lions Club agreement in my box. It's referred to in the June 15th minutes.
Did we have that?
It says here, Supervisor stated she received the Lions Club agreement from Jen Chase and put it in the board's mailboxes. I just don't think I got that. I don't have no problem with that, but I would like a copy of that.
Yeah, of course.
No
All
problem.
right. Alice and I will look into that.
Okay.
I didn't get one either.
Oh, all right. Wonder what happened.
I did.
Okay.
I
It
saw
may-
a letter, but you know,
Yeah, that's all it was.
It might be an email, I think.
Oh,
I agree. It might be an email.
oh, then I could have gotten it in email.
Yeah. So
okay.
it's kind of in the background information, I think.
Okay,
on the
okay.
book
That
email.
could be, I'll look again.
Okay. So we have approval of the minutes and the town clerk report.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Okay.
Now I'd like to go on to the approval of the bills.
You have general bills number 17738 to 17753. Highway bills number 17756 to 17765. And Pine Plains Water Improvement Area Bill number 2964.
I move that we approve those bills.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you on that. All right, supervisor statement. Swimming lessons will be offered at the beach for the first time in a number of years. This is a 5-week program for kids from 4 years old to 12 and is being offered at a cost of $25 per child. Please sign up with the family ID or go down to the beach and find Jen Chase, our director. A soccer camp is being run by pro soccer player for City of Leicester, Christian Fuchs, and it's underway this week as well at the ball fields. There will be another one in August. COVID-19 stats for Pine Plains remain at less than or equal to 5 active cases. So bravo to everyone for wearing masks and staying home when called to do so. It's really made a difference. Phase 4, which we're in now, is already a challenge as the county numbers have gone back up. Not not gigantically, but I believe around 48 confirmed cases. And they're thinking this is due to July 4th. And I just want to say to folks, you know, wear the mask. It really works. And Pine Plains has done awfully well. The fire department's holding a referendum August 11th for a vote on acquiring a new pumper. If you don't know what that is, consider that there are no hydrants at most of the outlying homes in the area. A pumper is used to draw water from any available resource, such as a pond or stream, to fight a fire. This will be August 11th at the Fire District Station, 7 Lake Road, between the hours of 6:00 p.m. and 9:00 p.m. And it will be a resolution authorizing the issuance of $275,000 bonds of the Pine Plains Fire District in the town of Pine Plains, Dutchess County, New York, to finance the cost of the purchase of a 2021 Class A pumper at a maximum estimated cost of $375,000. We as a board have been working on a series of white papers for the town website, which detail the projects which are ongoing in town. You can access them under town projects right on the homepage of the website. As always, if you have a question, you can contact us here at Town Hall and we'll try to answer it or at least get you to the right person. We are now working on updating our police manual with the help of the county. This is a state governor mandated project. And today I attended a meeting called Police Reform and Reinvention, which frankly confirms the excellent way our own department's been run for at least the last 6 years. Because we have a part-time department, our policies have to take that into account, which makes us something of a hybrid for which there are very few examples. We will be researching this in order to update our manual, but also participating in this important work with the county. That will include looking at policy changes, training in de-escalation, and the creation of meaningful reforms that will last into the future, which hold for every municipality in Dutchess County as a uniform mission. So that was a revelatory meeting today. They, all of the departments in the county are taking part in this sort of grand look at everybody's policies, with the idea that we will make them somewhat uniform from town to town, so that it's a mission the whole county participates in. And basically, we don't have a choice. It's a mandate. It will cost a little bit of money in that we're going to be asked to do some training. Our police force already did the CIT, what's it called? Critical incident training. They already did that. And they actually did it on their own. John found it going on and sent everybody, I think this was last year. And so we've done that already. And it is training in de-escalation, dealing with mentally ill people, things like that. So that will probably recur, but that's basically what the meeting was about. So they're going to get together with and make recommendations, and then we're all going to end up discussing what those are and whether they apply to us and what we all need. Now to a lot of thank yous. The past 3.5 months have been something of a nightmare for all essential workers. So first of all, I want to thank all our local farmers for providing food for people here, both for our food lockers and for those who can afford to buy their own. When I hear what other towns are experiencing in times of food scarcity, I'm astonished at how available meat and produce are right here. Predictions for the near future nationally list the supply chain disruption of food as the #1 crisis they foresee coming. Pine Plains is the breadbasket of Dutchess County in a lot of ways, I think, and the farmers here have kept us all going strong. I want to thank Ted Tenor for stepping up again to help level the beach and put down new sand and dirt for the ball fields. They've been graded and it looks wonderful over there. Enormous thanks to Jen Chase for her camp and beach directorship in a pandemic, which I can't even imagine what this took. I know she worked well into late nights for a month trying to figure out how to do this, creating the plan that this county and state had to approve before we could open. The amount of work that went into opening both has been heroic. For state compliance, she had to create a workable plan and submit it for approval, handle the Department of Health on a daily basis, and hire, train, and implement her teen crew, all before camp and beach even opened. Now it's vigilance over the protocols that is all consuming. Her people and organizational skills are truly appreciated. She reported at our workshop meeting last Monday that it was all worth it to see the kids smile so much after such a hard winter alone. And Jen wanted me to make sure to thank Bobby Lee Kaus for all his help in repairing the picnic tables and the dock, which fell apart the first week. Bobby Lee and his able-bodied assistant, Vinnie Parliament, have been instrumental in keeping our buildings clean and our public grounds maintained, and the specifications for that have increased their work quite a bit. A big thank you also to all the people who stepped up to volunteer to be on our broadband committee. The first meeting takes place next week. The board's looking into ways we might help college students who have no internet to study up in the community room. I don't know if we'll be able to do that, but it's an idea. This will help take some real planning and maintenance. And if anybody has any ideas about how we can handle this, send them to me. Finally, a parting thank you to Linnea Bailey, who moved to town a few years ago and set right to volunteering, becoming a member of the Garden Club and the Library Board. Linnea's landlord is selling her rental home and she is off to new adventures in Troy. We will miss Linnea and her daughter so much and thank her for all she's contributed to Pine Plains and hope she comes back to visit. Right. And now we are on to public comment.
I just would like to clarify, in terms of the fire department referendum, I just want the public to understand that the town board has nothing to do with that referendum and that vote. And that's something that everyone in the fire district is entitled to vote on, but that is not a town board issue. And I just want to have that completely clear.
Great.
Though it does impact on your taxes, or it can impact on your taxes.
Great. Thank you, Sarah. All right. I have a list of public comments that I've kind of gathered over the month. And I don't know if anybody else has any that just went to you. So
I had one that just came to me, and it was asking about, but you already said that we were going to address it. When are we going to start doing meetings in person again with masks and socially distancing?
well, I think we should just, why don't we discuss that like in new business?
But that's just the only public comment that came in. So I just
Okay,
wanted
great.
to.
Great.
And one other thing before I go back on mute, sorry, I got my kids right now, is I'm not going to be here for the workshop meeting nor the town board meeting next month. I will be out of town.
All right. Thanks, Matt. So I'm going to start this, and if you guys want to jump in at any point, let me know. So Tori Sirocco asked about our procurement policy in light of our handling of air conditioning replacement at the trailer where the building inspector and assessors are housed. This was an emergency, and as such, we called the person we contracted with last to do similar work. We knew it had been done quickly and well and at a competitive price at that time. That said, in emergencies, I keep a kind of rolling list of contractors whom we call for their various areas of expertise. For instance, the only person who has the tools and parts for our boiler at the highway department is Mike George. We call other plumbers, electricians, heating and cooling experts in a revolving manner to give work to everyone on our list. The criteria for this is mainly bonding for insurance and great references. This is all regarding emergencies. Normal work that is large repair, for instance, requires bids. Receiving bids can take weeks, which is why in emergencies we have a slightly different procedure. And just as a coda to that, they're really happy over there. They're thrilled with this new system. Drew came in especially to thank us, and it's quiet, it works. He doesn't have to wait an hour for it to cool off so he can work in his office. And I think it was a good investment in something that we can take with us if we ever get out of this building. All right. Robert L. Kaus needed further explanation of our workplace violence policy issue brought up at the last meeting. I will admit there was a lot of confusion. Our insurance company requested that we have what they referred to as a gun policy for employees of the town. This is needed for liability in case of an incident. It's mandated by the insurance company as a requirement for our coverage. When I went looking for that, we could not find it anywhere at Town Hall. However, the highway department had it, and it was called something different. It's called a workplace violence policy. Then I was able to find it under the correct name, and now I have it posted as per law on our website and our bulletin board. It dates from 2011 and was written by then board members Greg Pulver, Bob Kaus, George Keeler, Sandra David, and Rosie Chase.
I just add something to that. In reading the minutes back there, this was evidently, and I wish Warren was available, this was evidently mandated by the Department of Labor back then. And Warren had evidently had to do quite a bit of negotiating with our workplace violence policy issue with the Department of Labor to do it. This also was something that was handed to an employee. Everybody should have received a copy and signed the paper saying that they received it.
We have a nice list of all the people that signed it.
But I mean, we've obviously got a whole new bunch of people who hasn't signed it, including, you know, I signed it in the planning board, and, you know, nobody on this board has signed it except possibly me. Maybe Sarah did at the time.
No,
But I mean, it's something we have to bring back out and get back into our normal personnel routine.
Yep, we were thinking about doing it at the same time as sexual harassment training, which is in September. So we'll get it all together in September and make sure everybody's signed.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks, Don.
But I think Warren, as I say, I'd like to hear what he remembers or what he might have in his files on really what prompted the whole thing.
Yeah, I'll double check on that. I do remember doing that.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't. Hi, Warren.
I'm here.
Okay.
You can only see the top of my head.
Gotcha.
So I'll double check on that, but you know, I certainly was involved in that, and I knew we had the policy, so I'm glad we found it. And when I get the file, I'll communicate with Darren, make sure that we are in compliance with that.
Right.
A little surprised that it was at the highway department and at the town hall. But,
Well, they issue it, and they
okay, right, all right,
all of their workers have it and have signed off on it.
okay.
So it's only over here where we didn't have it up on the bulletin board and couldn't find it.
Right. When did we do that again? What was the date?
2011.
November of 11.
2011. Okay. I should have the records on that. Okay.
Okay.
And then there also is a provision in that where someone who has a permit, who wishes to be permitted to carry, can get authorization to do so in the town hall. And we have people who are in fact covered by that.
Yep. All right. The third comment was a series of comments. Ethan DiMaria asked who is in charge of enforcing proper placement of house numbers, as they are hard to come by. He also asked about the status of the crosswalk in front of the library and of public comments during this COVID-19 transference of town hall meetings to Zoom and YouTube. So our code enforcement officer, Drew Weaver, enforces house number placement. Any complaints about that should be directed to Drew. The status of the crosswalk at the library. This is a SAM grant project begun over 4 years ago. The grantors haggled with the town endlessly over who owned all the properties where the repairs and improvements would go. And what kept happening to us was, and I guess this is confirmed by a number of people as something that happens. You get to one person at the state, they review it, they send it on to somebody else. And it's like everything starts all over again. And they question all the same things the first person had tied up. I don't know why this happens, but this is what I've been told happened. So it kept getting sent back here to Kathy, to Lori, to Alice, every time we inquired as to where's the money. We were on the verge of getting it. We had finally found one person who stayed in the job at the state and was handling it exclusively for us when the virus hit. Now they have frozen those funds indefinitely. So that repair or that project is funded by the SAM grant, and we have to have the money before we can do the work.
Is Ray on board with us tonight?
He's not here tonight, no.
He's not here. Wasn't this tied in with the drugstore project? Okay, now that's been done by the county, correct?
No, that hasn't been done yet. That was a different kind of road repair.
This was the drainage issue right in the sidewalk that Ray was trying to include with this. So what I'm thinking is we did the sidewalk in front of the library first.
Okay.
And no one bid on it. So because they said it was too small a project. So Ray bundled it with the drainage issue in front of the drugstore. And that was what we were waiting for the SAM grant for. But now that isn't an issue, I don't believe, maybe we have to review the whole thing over again.
Okay, but I think that there's still a problem in front of the pharmacy.
Well, okay, well, I don't know. It hasn't rained enough to let us know whether there is or not.
Okay,
Or-
Nasser didn't think that had been fixed.
Okay.
Because I thought it had when I saw I'm assuming the state was in.
I thought it was the
No.
county that did it while they were working up in that area.
Okay,
But anyhow, I think we have to do some more research with Ray to update this whole thing.
all right, well, I
Okay.
did consult Ray to get this answer, so I will
Okay.
ask him that question. Okay, and as regards public comments and the Zoom and all this tech, I think from the get-go, we asked people to send us their comments via email to be read at the next meeting or to put them on the YouTube page. We don't broadcast live to Facebook. And here I want to make a very important point to everybody. Facebook is not a reliable or responsible way for us to receive information meant for the governance of the town. That would require constant vigilance to social media, and we don't have anyone capable of that with that many hours. I would like everyone to remember how little people get paid here for work that's way beyond their stated hours, and to respect that we're doing the best we can in extraordinary circumstances. And I go to the YouTube page after every meeting and gather any comments there. I have watched the Stanfordville meeting, which was referenced in Ethan's comments. They have a social media expert. They have a Zoom and social media expert in the town who was willing to take on all their meetings. And it's therefore handled by a completely separate person than anyone on the board. I was not able to find that person here. And so all of us had to learn to use this technology for the first time. So I am sorry it's not as efficient, perhaps, or quick as the Stanfordville group can manage, but we do gather your comments and take them seriously. The fourth comment Numerous residents of Bethel wrote to ask about removing 2 trees that were threatening both of the cemeteries out there. And Heather and I have worked with Central Hudson. Yesterday, we met with their forester and their tree service, and they are going to do it for the town. So it won't cost us anything, and they'll be out there as soon as they come to do some of their other projects.
I'm sorry, who did you say is going to do that, Dara?
Central Hudson?
Thank you.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's
It is
great.
awesome. It saves us
Yeah,
about,
that's really terrific. Thank you for getting that done. That's terrific. I know that group out there will be very happy not to have the cemetery stones in danger.
yeah. All right. We got a lot of letters about that. That was kind of great. Okay. Next up, Warren, we have a resolution. Sorry, I just lost my agenda. All right, it's a little hard to do this in a small space. Hold on. We have a resolution regarding the shared service agreement that we hold with Red Hook. And this is for highway work. Is that right, Heather?
Yes, that's correct. The town of Red Hook Highway Superintendent has just informed me that she can no longer enter into any shared services, which we do a lot, and I'll speak about that in my report, with other towns to help reduce taxpayers' expenses. So without this signed document, we can't help her by lending her trucks when she does her road projects, and she would then not be allowed to help us and send over any trucks with her crew as well. So she's the only one so far, or their town is the only one so far requiring a legal document specifying this. Most of our work that we do is just basically I call up and ask the towns for help and they send over people. I keep track of how long we've sent our people over for, and we try and keep everything even. So this is just a formality for Red Hook so that we can continue doing that with them and to suffice what she needs to provide for her supervisor.
I read through the contract and I just would like reinforcement that this doesn't change anything that we have already been doing. Is there any change to how we have been proceeding?
No, it's the same
Okay.
thing. It just allows her to call us up, and she cannot utilize the help from any other municipalities unless they've signed into this
Okay.
agreement.
And then it looked like that it was self-renewing each year, that we wouldn't have to renew it each year.
I didn't read that
I
part.
thought that there was a provision in there and I thought that was a good idea.
Yeah, that's in there.
Okay. You have any issue with it, Warren, at all?
No, there's actually a provision in the highway law which allows it to be done even more informally. But I don't know why Red Hook has determined they need a formal intermunicipal agreement, but it's fine with me. We just entered into the same agreement between Rhinebeck and Red Hook. So we're familiar with the fact that they've been circulating these. So I prepared a short resolution for you to approve the signing of the agreement. I'm assuming we've had no problems with Red Hook and sharing services.
I have not, no,
Yeah.
everything is correct.
Okay, could I have a motion?
I will move that we pass the referendum to have shared services with Red Hook.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
I
Aye.
need a
It
voice
does-
vote.
That we take out specific insurance too, if that matters.
Yeah, it's covered, I'm sure, under our policy.
We've done
But
this.
we should send it on to our insurance carrier just so they're aware of that we've done that.
Great. We don't need a roll call on this?
No,
Okay. All righty,
you do need a vote though.
we did.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. Anything
I-
else? Warren?
I think we should really do a vote, since the resolution is written to have the individuals, what their vote was. I think it would be best if we did a quick roll call vote.
Yeah,
Let's do
you
that.
can. I mean, the problem with Zoom is, you don't know who's voting on it for sure.
Okay.
So probably use of roll call is probably suggested in more cases than we usually do. But only for expenditure of monies do you have to do a roll call vote. So,
Okay.
All right, is this for Warren's resolution then that you're doing this?
Yes.
So do you want a roll call vote?
Yes, please.
All right.
Supervisor Cloud,
Aye.
Councilman Jones,
Aye.
Councilman Bartles,
Aye.
Councilman Zick, Councilman Zick,
Turn
yeah,
on your.
mute yourself.
I,
All right.
Councilman Chase,
Oh, he's frozen.
Unmute.
Councilman Chase.
He's,
Oh dear.
I,
Okay, we heard that. I
okay,
heard it.
Heard it.
that's why you don't have to do it on Zoom. All right. Are we good, Judy?
Yep,
There's one other thing I just want to mention to you. We had received a FOIL request, a document from a company, Mudrock News, and a preservation of litigation hold notice. And we're not the only, it's actually sent to our police department. And we're not the only one a municipality received this. I think every municipality in New York State received the same notice. We received it in Hyde Park. And basically this really does have to be attended to. I just want to make sure that we do. There's been a change in the civil rights law, which I won't go into details, but there were certain protections from freedom of information law with regard to personnel records for police officers, which have now been removed from the civil rights law, Section 50A of the civil rights law. So now, as a result, certain records, not all of them, are available for FOIL, for Freedom of Information Act requests. And with this Muckrock News, and they do exist. I mean, it's a funny name, but they do exist. Has sent this to every municipality, and we've all been grappling with how to deal with this. So I did prepare a letter for the supervisor to sign, which explains to the town board members and the supervisors the changes in the law, the documents that they're receiving, and the FOIL request. And I prepared a response to the FOIL request for Judy to send out. Also, I prepared a draft letter which has to go out to all employees of our police department, including our chiefs and acting chiefs and just police department officers and personnel. I think it goes back, if I recall, to 1970. So this has to be sent out to the extent that we can identify all of these people. This notice that I prepared for Dara to sign, the hold order, I'm sure Sarah is familiar with this, the whole litigation order, also advises these employees and that we have to make sure that any documentation or information or any documentation that they've requested pursuant to the FOIL request are preserved and not destroyed. There's a possibility that this could lead to a fair amount of litigation across the state, including our municipality. So we have to take this request seriously. And it should be, if it hasn't been already, referred on to our insurance carrier, although no claims are being made now. I just want to make sure that if somehow, as a result of documentation and records that they receive, litigation is filed, that our insurance company has proper notice of that potential. So I don't want to discuss this in any more detail in public. I just want to make sure that we are responding to this. So I wanted the board members to make sure they are aware. I know it's quite confusing. And if anybody has any questions, let me know, and then I'll follow up with Dara to make sure that all of this is done.
I just wanted to know, who pays for the copying of any documents?
They pay for the copying of documents up to 25 cents a page. That's statutory. So unfortunately, although this could be an enormous amount of work, and not so much for a small police department like Pine Plains, but for example, Hyde Park is a much larger police department with full-time members. Huge amount of documentation that has to be gathered. And unfortunately, we can only require 25 cents a page unless there's a special copying, which requires a printer to do it. But I don't think that would apply. But we do not get reimbursed for the time and effort that the municipality has to go through to comply with this. It's really unfortunate. And if you take solace in the fact that you're not the only municipality who's targeted by this, it's a small solace, but we have to deal with it.
Okay. So Warren, when should we get John and the guys working on this then?
Immediately. So what I'll do is, why don't you and I follow up with a phone call either tomorrow or next week, and I'll just go over everything I sent and just make sure, and I'll tell you what, if we haven't done what we should have done, what we need to do, and then I can give you specific directions on how to proceed.
Okay.
And they indicated that we were to do the most recent first.
Right. They permitted a rolling
Yeah.
response, which
So we
we
can
should
look at
probably coordinate. Yeah.
A finite amount to begin with.
Yes.
And
Yes.
hopefully you'll find very, very little in there from our, we just really have not had many problems that I know of anyway. So at least we're in good shape there.
I think we are, at least currently.
Yeah, but it's just an overwhelming ask.
It's unbelievable.
Overwhelming, yes.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Did they send this foil directly to the police department?
Yeah, instead of getting into detail about that, Judy, maybe you, Darren, and I could be on a conference call and we can go over the whole thing. And I could explain how.
I can't tomorrow. I have to be in Albany.
Well, tomorrow is fine. We'll just set up a date next
Okay.
week. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, great. Anything else, Warren?
I think that's all I have, unless you have something. I was away. I got something on American Tower. Is that a dead issue? We're not dealing with that anymore.
No, that's not a dead issue.
Oh, okay.
But we decided, I consulted a bunch of different people, and basically the advice is to keep the contract we have
Okay.
and
All right.
keep the 3% that they give us. We don't we don't want to have less money.
So we should probably just notify them that we're rejecting the offer. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
And that's all I have.
Okay. I go on to the department reports. Heather?
Okay, most of what I was going to say you've already covered, so that's great. So my report will be brief. Basically, we've just been very busy trying to keep up with the roadside mowing and of course with our road work. We just finished up today our resurfacing projects. The contractor was actually able to get us on their schedule 2 weeks earlier than anticipated, and we completed the projects in 2 days as opposed to the original estimate of 3 days. So that's a cost savings as well to the town. And we utilized the shared services, as I discussed before, with 3 municipalities. I had very gracious highway superintendents that lent their fleet, most of their fleet, to us. I had the town of Clinton in, the town of Gallatin, and also the town of Milan. So I thank them for their help. Their guys stayed late, as well as our guys, to get this done in a record amount of time. You've already handled the intermunicipal agreement for the town of Red Hook, so I will report that to the superintendent, and I thank you for that. And we've already discussed the trees with the cemetery. The only thing that I do want to say about that is the general foreman from Lewis Tree will reach out to me when they start doing that. And the highway crew will work along with them to get the large pieces out of the way because they have no place to put them. Obviously, they're not going to leave them in the cemetery. So we will be taking them. I have already received word from some individuals that are right there that they would like the wood, which makes it very easy for us to get rid of it. That's basically all I have for that. The only thing that other than that is I've sent an email out to Dara. It is time for us to go out for bid for materials. So I need to get approval from the board to go ahead and advertise for bids for our highway materials. And I usually do it this time of the year so that I can get good numbers in order to start my budget preparation to present that in September. The only question that I had about the bid for materials was whether or not you wanted to include the fuel oil and for heating oil and the liquid propane for the buildings, or if you wanted to go out separately for that.
I think it would be great if you did it all together. I don't know how everybody else feels. Makes sense.
Fine by me.
Saves ad money,
Mhm.
which is actually very expensive.
Yeah, legal notices are.
Yeah.
So I will go ahead and use the format that we've used every year. I do want you to know that I've also researched the county is going out to bid, or they have gone out to bid. Their solicitation ended, I believe it was June 30th. So their bids that they award, we're also able to piggyback off of. So when I do the purchasing for materials, obviously my ice control sand, I like to keep with the one supplier that we have used for years because of the way that it works with our trucks. But the other materials, if the county comes back with a cheaper price, then we will obviously utilize their contract as opposed to the bids that we receive. And once we get the bids in and I look them over and put forward my recommendations, I'll explain more about that. But basically, it's the same thing as in years past. You can award a bid, but not purchase from that bid if you find another contract that you can piggyback off that's lesser price. So at this point, I just need your permission to forward this on to Judy so that she can put it in the newspaper. And we're looking at the bids to come back on August 7th, I believe, so that I can put forward my recommendations.
I move that we give Heather the authorization to go forward with that bidding process.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have unless anyone has anything for me.
I have a quick question, Heather. Have you guys, I know we voted maybe a few months back now on amending some speed limits around town. And I say that including on Chase Road, but have new signs posting those limits going up now?
Sarah, do you want to say that?
Yeah, we never got approval for that, for those, because we needed to redo all of our speed studies. So actually, I have that on the agenda under old business. And actually, I can just address it right now, Rory. So the state changed its mind and towns do not have to pay for their speed studies anymore. Now, here's the question, who does them, therefore? You know, does that mean the state does it? Does that mean we can have our town police do it? No one seems to know right now. And I am looking into that with the help of Mike Manning, who used to work for them, for the Department of Transportation and the so he volunteered to look into how we can get the speed studies we need in order to change the speeds on these roads. We have the list that we all created. Remember the resolution we passed? I have all that. I handed it to him. There is a pressure that there's pressure that you keep freezing and I can't hear you.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Can type it in the
Oh,
chat.
Sorry.
Maybe
Was
I can, there's a little thing on, at the bottom called chat.
Ooh, look at that.
Yeah. While you're typing, the municipalities are pushing to be able to change their own speed limits in town proper roads. And I don't know how that's gonna go over. No, this is town roads.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Tara, did you get something in writing from Department of Transportation on that?
No, this is all through mayors and supervisors reporting.
Because I would be, if there's something in writing from either the county or the state, I'd like to see that because that's an important issue.
Yeah, it is. I got this, I know that the supervisor in Red Hook has been on a committee to work with the state on it. And this is the new ruling, but I don't have any paperwork on it yet.
Yeah, if we could find that out, and then we could, I'm sure there's a way we can figure out because the putting the onus on the town was prohibitive.
Yeah, $3,500 a road.
Yeah.
I'm not optimistic that the state's gonna be too quick to pick up that cost this year.
Unless they let us do our own studies using our town police, in which case, you know, that
Okay.
was pretty,
Well, that'd be
that
cool.
was my question. because-
Depending on how much that would cost us, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. But great, I will do that, Warren. Get state paper. Let me just write this down. Okay. I don't think we have anything else on for you, Heather.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Building inspector. If you look at this and I don't know if you noticed on Judy's town clerk's report, how many permits, building.
I did.
permits issued?
There was a big
Big number.
big income there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we had, right now, we are total for the year to date at 31 permits to date, which is a record for the last 10 years. So there were 31 building permits, 1 new home to date, 1 certificate of occupancy issued, 8 C of O searches, and 17 site inspections performed. Yeah, so that was quite exciting. All right.
Well, I think that may partially represent the tightening of the real estate market due to people coming here and moving out of the city and the pressure on the local real estate around here.
Yeah. All right, on to Pine Plains Police Department. We had 127 hours of patrol and 23.5 of administration and 9 of investigation. 15 vehicle or other traffic kind of stops. And 13 complaints, 38 traffic warnings, actual tickets were 37, and 2 arrests. And the only note I have from John on this is Sergeant Lawson and Officer Camburn provided traffic control for graduation parade on the 27th of June. And they also helped with the actual graduation last weekend. It was a moving target as to whether, what day that was going to be held. So I want to thank them because they couldn't plan their lives from one minute to the next. So, Water Department. Average flows climbed from the previous month to roughly 60,000 gallons a day. This is in part due to the very dry weather conditions and property owners watering lawns and filling pools. The PPWIA encourages all water users to conserve water when possible. Water meter maintenance. Due to COVID and the requirement to practice social distancing and not intrude into customers' homes, meter replacement and repairs have temporarily been suspended. If the social distancing requirements continue beyond the next billing cycle, estimated meter reading utilizing past water usage records will be implemented. Utility markouts. 3 construction markouts were performed in the past month. Rural Water assisted in locating a water leak at the fire hydrant at the intersection of Factory Lane and Route 199. So the hydrant will be temporarily taken out of service and is scheduled to be repaired next week. Fire chief has been notified of the fire hydrant being taken out of service. We will continue to perform leak detection in other areas of the system. At the request of a property owner, water service was shut off to an existing building located on North Main. A new water service was connected to a residential property located on Carla Terrace. The water department will be contacting numerous property owners within the next 2 weeks to obtain water samples for water quality analysis regarding lead and copper. Lead and copper testing is required to be performed by the PPWIA every 3 years. Past lead and copper sampling have met state and federal requirements. Meter reading for the second quarter billing period took place at the end of June and water bills have been sent out. And that's that. Any questions on that? Okay. We talked to Michael Cooper, Recreation Director, last Monday. He's not here tonight, but he had an 8-page document of recommendations, which Matt and he are going to sit down and work on so that they can come up with a plan to present to the board at some future time about some ideas about kind of redoing the rec.
We spoke about it a little while today, and we're gonna set up a meeting for like Tuesday of next week.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. We have a dog control report. There were only 2 calls this month, 14 year to date, as opposed to 27 the previous year. And no dogs were seized. And 1 missing dog was reported. And our kennel, or the way we do things, which is Pine Plains Veterinary, was approved by the state, which is nice. That happens every year. So that's our reports. Oh, I wanted to also say that the assessors reported an increase in assessed values in town, and wants to make sure everybody understands that that does not mean that taxes will go up. It does mean your house is worth more. They've they're ahead of schedule on all their work, and the system they have for working during the virus is they're able to keep up and actually be ahead of schedule. So things are going well there. Okay. So old business. I'm going to try to share a document. Let's see if I can do this. Yes. So this is what our budget looks like, our operating statement. which I thought would be probably interest some people to see sort of what it looks like. And this, we get a printout of this every month. And I was especially interested in looking at it at the 6-month period, given COVID. And the reason for that is that it had been predicted that we might experience anywhere from a 10% to 40% reduction in revenues of sales tax, mortgage tax, et cetera. So I really have been keeping an eye on everybody's budget lines. If you look at it, we're pretty much at the halfway mark, and everybody is pretty much at the halfway mark. So I wanted to show, basically look at the revenues and talk about that because they surprised me. If you look at the year-to-date amount, which is this second line here, on non-property tax distribution, that is sales tax. Okay, so the sales tax is distributed by the state to the county, and then the county has a certain amount of a percentage that goes to every town, and that's how Dutchess County deals with it. If you think about it, our sales tax, if we were trying to survive on our sales tax in Pine Plains with so few stores, we would be out of business. But the county forces the bigger cities to share their sales tax with us. So we are supposed to expect now about an 8% reduction. However, at this point, we are at 120 of the projected 150 for that revenue line. And this is only, we haven't gotten the second quarter money in yet. So I'm really interested in this because I was really worried that we would be way down on this number. And actually we're quite, I think, quite up. So I have not yet received the second quarter distribution, but we have the second quarter, the third quarter, and the fourth quarter to go. And even if each of those is really a small check, I think we're going to make our revenue projection, which is great.
Is that from Amazon or e-commerce?
I have no idea. That is exactly
Sales
what I'm
tax?
wondering.
Yeah.
If it comes from
That's
the
amazing.
state, it could include those, yeah. It
Yeah.
could include those.
It's not broken down in
That
any.
line, but presumably that line is going to bring in probably over $200,000 in revenue this year. You're thinking, at least.
Oh, no. Well, I budget for 150. And the fact that we're at 120 does not mean we're going to get a lot more money after that. That was all pretty much first quarter stuff.
And fourth quarter, wasn't it?
Well, we wouldn't put the fourth quarter from 2019 into this, would we?
I would think so, because we wouldn't receive it until first
Yeah.
quarter of, right. So I'm thinking this probably reflects our best 2 quarters that we'll see.
Yes, I think
Yeah.
so too, but we haven't gotten the second quarter in.
No, but you've got, I think it's the fourth quarter and the first quarter
Okay.
that we've gotten in, and second and third.
Well, why wouldn't the fourth quarter be credited to the 2019 budget?
I don't know, but that's the only thing that makes sense if you don't have your second quarter in, I would think.
It was not labeled 2019, so.
Okay, well, it'd be interesting to find out, because if
Yeah.
you've received 80% of it on 1 quarter, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't it be greater if, in fact, revenues of sales tax were up for whatever reason? Would they stop sending it to us when we reached the limit that we'd budgeted? No, right? They'd
No,
keep-
no. Our budgeting has nothing to do with what they send us.
Exactly.
Yeah. So It's just fascinating.
It's good. I mean, I looked at today's report and I was also very pleased with where I thought we were. I thought
Yeah.
we were in very good shape. I agree with you totally.
Yeah, I was, the only thing I think that we need to watch out for is look at that, summer camp receipts are gonna be,
They'll
down.
be down because there's so many fewer campers,
Exactly.
and they have to still have a lot of counselors.
Exactly.
That's fine.
And our mortgage tax, that will be coming in slowly, but we've already got, let's see.
That was pretty good, I thought.
Yeah, we've already got 16. That is, I think that came in the second quarter. When did that come in? Yeah, that came in the second quarter, in June. We're not going to get that state aid, that 7,500. But everything else is kind of, and oh, I see, fines, forfeits of bail are going to be down. Everything else is sort of running, licenses and permits are down. So I just wanted to report that.
Very good.
Okay. There's a little bit of a problem that I need to fix. If you will look at this next thing that I pulled up. This is our reorg salary list. And the fourth thing on the list is Warren's retainer. In 2016 or 15, I'm not sure, but I think it was 16. The price went up. And it was listed here at 3,500, tentative 6-month term. If you can see that written out there like that.
Mhm.
However, if you look at, the problem is that that's a 6-month term. It's not a 12-month term. So all this time we've been carrying that over, and I've been doing it. I just continued carrying it that way. But technically speaking, it's double this figure
Sure.
because it's only a 6-month term. So I need to repair that. At
I'm
least
not sure if that's, I'm not totally sure that's the case.
it is the case, Don. The retainer is 7,000 a year.
Okay, but we've never, I don't recall voting for a retainer of 7,000 a year.
Well,
'Cause
that's
I
what
think
been
you're dealing with-
2016.
You're dealing with two things, I thought. I'm not used to seeing this particular format, but I'd like to see some previous years to see, because it seemed to me, and Warren, this is not directed at you in any way. There was one year where we discussed this half-year term, and I'd have to know more information why we decided at that time for a tentative 6-month term. But I was still under the impression, and I'd like to see previous years.
Well, come in and look at it because I've got all the books.
Okay, but I mean, we voted on this. So in other words, in order to change it, we're going to have to vote on it again, and I don't feel comfortable right now voting on it.
Well, I can tell you, I feel uncomfortable discussing this. It should be done in executive session, but
I understand.
it was 7,000 last year, and I believe it was 7,000 year before. Those $3,500 rates were in existence 30 years ago, and they were raised at one point and then to 7. So it's consistent with what was paid last year. I think it was also paid the year before, maybe the year before. But if you want to deal with it, I prefer not to do it in open session.
I
Okay,
understand.
I agree with that.
we'll go into executive session to keep talking about that.
Okay.
All right, great. So that's the end of that. We talked about the speed study. I wanted to talk about 8 and 12 North Main. We're moving ahead with the bonding. And my question is, some of the kind of planner people who live in town told me that there's a a rule of thumb about taking buildings down in terms of how a town looks. And the question is, if we are going to take these buildings down, we are going to leave two big holes on the block for a while. And I just wanted to mention that this is the advice I got from a couple of people, was that you don't want to do that. You want the town to look filled in. And I can see that point, but I just sort of wanted to put that out for discussion, because we need to move once we close on it. We've bonded the money to remove both houses. And we can table this, you know, you can think about it, and we'll table it till August, because we're not going to be closing until then, but.
Certainly, if we take these structures down, when we take them down, we wouldn't just leave holes in the ground, right? We would.
No,
we would
but
have.
the way they put it was, it's like missing teeth. You
Sure.
know,
What's
but the
the
block,
alternative?
So
The
that's what.
alternative is having boarded up building.
yeah,
So, you know, I would.
Well,
lean
what are the
toward-
alternative things that could be there in the meantime after the buildings are torn down? But I'm sure there's ways we could use those spaces productively and continue moving forward. But that, you know, are a constructive use somehow in the meantime, but that don't have the buildings on them, probably. Which could be a discussion for another.
I think it's important to take the buildings down promptly.
I agree.
great.
No.
Okay. Okay, I just wanted to be able to prepare, because I have to go
And
out.
then, I mean, maybe you just plant grass. I don't know whether you put parking in or you just plant grass. I mean, our town has already had a very large, major piece of real estate that's been grass as long as I've been here, longer. You know, and we've lived with that.
We could plant wildflowers.
We could do that. Maybe that would be a good thing to do.
Yeah,
To
we
show
have,
that you don't
Very difficult
plant
to
grass.
maintain.
What?
It's very difficult to maintain. to make
Yeah.
it Like anything.
we have a homeowner in town who, he's got almost 2 acres, and they planted wildflowers in 4 quadrants of the 2 acres, and it's extraordinary. They back up on the cemetery. It's just beautiful.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's really neat. Everybody
Or
drives.
I think maybe we move the town garden there, the garden that's out by town hall now.
Oh, that'd be neat.
Maybe
Wow.
we move that there to give activity and you know, engage people right in the center of town. I think that, and have you know, expand the garden a little bit. Let's grow corn. You know, sweet corn looks great in a garden. Different things look great in a garden. I think that would be fun.
Excellent. Well, I'll talk to them.
Yeah, for anyone listening in the public too, who has ideas on things that could
Yeah,
exist there
let's do it, right?
in the meantime, yeah, feel free to pipe up.
Cool. All right. We talked about the speed study. Mike Manning's helping. And that we talked about the cemetery trees. And on to new business. Vinny's not ready with his new ideas about the recycling center, but we did.
Has anybody asked Pat Bryan about the ideas for the recycling center? Because she did all that research.
Byron.
Sorry.
Yeah, and what we did was we got 2 bins now that separated out even more. And Vinny is taking names and license plates of everyone who comes in, which is working out quite well, and nobody minds. And the only thing that we're experiencing really is, you know, because somebody just dumped carpeting
Oh.
right there, you know, which is just mean. So that is not allowed, then we can't deal with it. So, you know, the town has to handle it. But something like that happens a little too frequently over there. But if nobody's around to watch it, it's what happens. But Vinny will be back in August with more ideas about how to
Yes.
handle things.
The only comments that I've heard about it is that with the cardboard, you having to cut it down and stuff it into the side holes of the dumpster.
Yeah.
Makes it very, very difficult to get any volume in, you know, because you're trying to fill up above the doors. And the other thing is, you know, I know we, at one point we have to pay for the dumpsters, and it was a $38 a month or something like that charge. And I don't know if that's for one dumpster or two dumpsters,
No, I think it now costs us about $90 a month.
for the two dumpsters.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other comment we have is that from about Friday on, they're full.
Well, we have 2 pickups now. And the problem with
Okay.
that is that Welsh doesn't always come. We have contracted for stuff being picked up twice a week.
Okay.
And again, this is all new due to the virus. All this cardboard is coming in because Rory,
Right.
you know, referenced Amazon. That's what it is. Everybody's ordering. So we've never had this problem until,
Yeah, well, we've had the same problem for quite a while.
well, not that much with the
Before that.
cardboard.
We've been full by Saturday morning, early Saturday morning.
Well, we have 2 pickups now.
But when is the second pickup?
One is Thursday and one is, I believe, Monday.
Okay, well, I haven't heard, like you say, they're not, you know, the complaints that have gotten back to me have been that they're usually full. So
Well,
I'll look into that. Dumpsters are emptied on Mondays and Fridays, so
Monday through
all
Friday.
boxes need to be broken down, yeah. But with the top of the dumpster being locked, the people have complained to me about, makes it very, very awkward to try to put stuff in there.
You know, the thing is, it disciplines them to break their boxes down because they had a tendency to just throw their boxes in. So I think that's why it's locked. But that's Welsh doing that, not us.
What is
Well,
Vinny going to give you, Dara?
Pardon?
What is Vinny going to give you?
Vinny's going to come in August with some ideas that he's
Oh,
got.
okay, thank you.
And Alice just chatted back saying it's on Thursdays, not Fridays.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. Great. The only other two new business, I kind of wanted to start a conversation on the reorganization of the Recreation Committee, which we began dialogue on the Recreation Committee on Monday. But Michael's not here, and I sent everybody just a little kind of a preliminary way to start thinking about it. And we can table this till August after Matt and Michael have sat down to kind of do things, but these were just a few suggestions of ways to sort of bring a little more structure to the committee. And again, because Michael's not here, I kind of feel like we shouldn't discuss it, but
Yeah, I don't think we're really ready to
Right.
Do it. I think it's an ongoing discussion, and I'm not happy going forward now.
yeah, great.
Let's table it.
We'll table that. Okay, good. And then the last thing was a wonderful idea that Sarah and John Hughes cooked up.
And Stan.
Stan, okay. Sarah, do you want to talk about this?
Well, Stan and I both had the experience when we were teenagers learning to drive that our parents hired the local police officers. They were a little differently structured, but we got driving lessons from our local police. And I still remember things that I was told during those couple of lessons. And Stan had an absolutely fabulous experience with a police officer. And, you know, it's a great thing, and we just talked to John Hughes, who was quite enthusiastic about it. It wouldn't be a formal course, but it would be something available that parents could sign their kids up for, and the kids would use the family vehicle and have a police officer give them their perspective on how dangerous driving really is, and how there's simple ways of really driving much more safely, and it has to do with bicycles and pedestrians and traffic signals and stuff like that. And it's just an idea for getting our kids to know our police better, and get some really good information and perspective from how law enforcement views this really crucial function that we have all the time, every day.
I think it's a good idea because people also, like kids listen to other people other than their parents. And
That's right. Exactly.
Like,
Exactly. And I will admit that me and my friends, we just loved it because we thought the cops, our local cops, were the cutest things going. And if we didn't have anything to do on Saturday night, we'd stop down at the police station and hang out. It was hilarious, fun, and very positive in every respect. It was great.
Well-
That's what you want going on in your community. And then the police know who you are. So when something comes up, they go, "Oh, you!" It's totally humiliating.
I contacted our insurance agent to ask what they thought of this. And they just had questions for us. They were like, okay, great. They want us to delineate who the lessons are offered to, what's the age group, is there a charge, what is the revenue that's going to be generated, are there any waivers that are being signed with respect to the use of parents' vehicles?
Well, those are all things we'd have to think about.
Yeah, exactly. So do you want to, and Warren said it was okay with him. And I ran it by Ken Roman, who's the Deputy Commissioner of Emergency Services in Dutchess County, and he got all excited. He thought it was the best idea he'd heard. Because, we're all working on police reform and reinvention and all this, and he just, I have this ebullient email from him about the idea. So should we kind of make a vote to look into it and design it?
I mean, we don't have to vote on it, but we can still design. Like, can't we just look into it and see what
Look
the
into it. Okay,
says and then just go forward with it?
Seems like it's a go.
okay.
See what we can do.
All right, great. Start working on it. And at this point, I would like to go into executive session after we adjourn in order to discuss cybersecurity, and we'll talk about the salary issue. So we need to adjourn first, and then we need to go.
Well, Judy, I make a motion, we go
Need to
into
go to
executive.
executive session.
Great.
So Judy, I make a motion, we go into executive session.
Second,
Second.
Second.
all in favor?
All
Aye.
right.
Okay, now you need to make a motion to bring us back.
I got it, Judy.
So moved.
All right, so moved. I was gonna say, I make a motion to bring us back
And adjourn.
And adjourn, okay.
and adjourn, okay. I was gonna do them all separate.
Sure.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, everyone. I'm going to go off of live.